Hello guys, Trinson here. Today I'll be reading some more r/EntitledParents. I've been reading this guy's journey with his terrible entitled mother, and that's pretty rare to have your own mother be one on the subreddit. So what is it like to live with an entitled mother that doesn't smother you? And also, I'll upload the next two parts in the next video since OP didn't post it yet. Anyways, enjoy. My entitled mother wants to be seen as more beautiful than a Bollywood actress. Story 1 of 6. Edit, so the story and another 5 got zapped for being too long, so I'm going to split it into 6 parts. This is part 1 of 6 stories I have. Hi, so ahead of time, this is my first time posting. And while this story isn't exactly a rabbit foaming at the mouth Karen story, it is a story of a mother who believes she's entitled to unbridled worship from her children. Even though I disowned her a year ago, she has legitimately worked hard to get some of the places she got to. So if you're expecting shrieking drama, this isn't the story for you. These are all everyday entitlement stories about my mother, 4 of them being little indicators that all was not well, and the last 2 stories are the lead up to how I disowned my mother. Without further ado, let's begin. Roll call for these stories. EM, my entitled mother. DD, my decent dad. DW, my dad's wife, who he's happily married to. CB, my cool little bro, who still talks to my mom and has a good relationship with her. BF, best friend, though it has been confused as boyfriend before. NB, my mother's narcissistic new husband after my dad, now ex-husband. Me, some blowhard. Story 1. The Shilpa Shetty incident. It was 2007 and my mother, being in touch on the basic side, loved Big Brother, the TV show, not a figurehead of INSOC, and follow it religiously. Sometimes me and cool bro would watch it with her. Now, I was never good at reading social cues as a child, and my mother is vain. To be fair, last I've seen her, she's good looking for her age, but she's obsessed with looks. She would regularly criticize me for having eyebrows that were thick enough to meet in the middle. I'm quarter Indian, and always forced plucking and face masks on me while my considerably less hairy brother laughed it off awkwardly. So, with that in mind, we were watching the finale of 2007 Celebrity Big Brother. And for those who don't know, Bollywood actress and Indian celebrity Shilpa Shetty won. I was around 12 at the time. I was just getting into girls in a sexual way, and have always preferred olive-skinned women. For some reason I'll never understand. My mom asked me this. Entitled mom? Kazar, honey, who do you think is prettier? Me? What do you mean? Entitled mom? Me or Shilpa, who is prettier? Now, as I said, my mom always took good care of her looks, but Shilpa Shetty was a Bollywood actress. Probably because I'm a bit of an aspie at times. Not to mention my mom assured me I could always be honest with her. I told her that Shilpa was prettier. This blew shit up. Entitled mom? How dare you, Kazar? How could you have no family loyalty? You've ruined my night now. I just wanted to cry. I was lost for words. I didn't know what to say, so I just ran off into my room and hid myself like a family shame I was. This is what she did to me and my brother whenever her friends were over. Ferry us off into our room, as if we were vermin. This should set the tone for my relationship with my mother. She was Norma Bates Light, and this was not the only time she fixated upon her own son finding her attractive. I don't think it's a sexual thing, more an ego thing. My entitled mother criticized my speech delivery, humiliates me when this backfires. Story 2 of 6. Story 2, the Kingdom Hall speech incident. One thing you should know about me is that my maternal grandma is a Jehovah's Witness, and all of her children, including my mother, were once witnesses too. However, my mom was never super strong in the faith. Despite this, she was utterly determined to appear to be the most faithful woman alive during my childhood. Now, Jehovah's Witness women don't really get the privileges men do. They can't become elders, can't give speeches or readings. But thankfully for her, she had 2 sons she could use. I was, in my childhood, a passionate witness. I genuinely believed the faith was the truth. Loved the Watchtower and the New World Translation Bible. I was a true believer, a paragon. It was this genuine belief, it was the truth that left me open to new ideas. And I thought the truth could stand up to criticism. When my faith didn't, I laughed. And of course, my mom enjoyed that kudos gained from my enthusiastic answers and readings. Then, one night when I'm practicing a Bible reading, my mom decided to barge in. The conversation went something like this. Entitled mom, you know that when you get excited you sound stupid, don't you? Me? What do you mean? Entitled Mom, you're too loud and too excitable. I can't study and you're just embarrassing yourself in front of the congregation. She must have done this to get me to shut up while she studied, or was taking out her misery on me, or any other unrelated reasons. Because it was not, so I could improve my speech giving. As a disillusioned child, just told that getting passionate about my beliefs was stupid. I gave my next Bible reading in a dull, passionless voice. It was enough that while the congregation gave a polite clap, an elder took me aside and asked if everything was okay. This enraged my mother. Snatching my hand and dragging me away, she said this, entitled Mom, Kazar, what was that? Me? I didn't want to get too excited like you told me. Entitled Mom, you sounded like you were upset. The elders probably think I'm abusing you. Do you want me to be seen as a bad mother? Do you want to end up at Dad's? It should be noted my mother and father divorced when I was 5. And despite both being Jehovah's Witnesses at the time, the divorce went through because of a convenient affair on my father's side. More on that later. He's now married to the woman he had an affair with, and she's a lovely woman who always has my back. However, my mom used to use my dad as both a free bank and a free babysitter, yet would occasionally spin fanciful tales about how terrible a person he was for having an affair, and always used staying with him permanently as a threat. One of my biggest regrets in life was not calling her bluff, as my dad is infinitely better parent than her. So my mom criticized me, got enraged at me for following her advice, albeit with some childish sadness, and then prevented me from seeking outside advice when offered. This was before the previous story, but in tandem, you can see a picture building. Moving on. My entitled mother calls me stupid for believing a theory of evolution as a biology student. Story 3 of 6. Story 3, the Charles Darwin Incident. At this point, I'm a winter break during my marine biology and zoology degree. By this point, both me and my mother, and my brother too, are all out of the Jehovah's Witnesses. Me because I was faced with science that made more sense. Mom because she couldn't keep up appearance enough. And my brother because honestly, he never took the faith seriously, good on him if you ask me. Despite this, my mom is on a spiritual but not religious ilk. And when faced with natural things like cordyceps fungus or tapeworms, say things like, why do such things exist? They just seem so horrible. Everything has a purpose, doesn't it? Essentially, she's a creationist in all but name and isn't happy about me taking a biology degree, despite the fact she wanted me to be a vet. One day, she takes me out clothes shopping, and this conversation ensues. Entitled Mom, so, Kazar, what are you learning in university? Me? Oh, well, some pretty interesting stuff. I learned about how there's not just one kind of evolution, as plenty of people think, but there's two. Natural selection is the one people quote about the most, but that's got a clear pattern based on the environment. The truly random evolutionary process is called genetic drift, and, entitled Mom, I hope you don't take all that stuff seriously. You just learn it for the test and forget it, right? Me? I'm sorry, what? Entitled Mom, well, it's not true, is it? Everything has to be created. It's too complex not to be designed. Me? Mom, the theory of evolution is currently the most well-supported explanation for the complexity of life. Entitled Mom, don't give me that rubbish. Charles Darwin wanted to stop belief in God. He was an idiot. Me? Charles Darwin had a doctorate in divinity. He was the most scientist at the time, earnestly searching for an explanation on how God creates such animals. But when he found evidence that nature could do it alone, he didn't ignore or suppress it. Entitled Mom, shut up, Kazar. Stop being stupid and just drop it. I dropped it, because my mom is a very keen manipulator. She knew I based my self-esteem on my intellect at the time, and as such, she could call me, or my ideas, stupid, and that would hurt me enough to shut me up. This one is petty, but once again, shows the kind of person she is. She wants to be hailed as right no matter what, and hating me for doing a degree that insinuated she could be wrong. An additional note for this story, she eventually dated a narcissistic bitch and married him. What was he? A PhD in ecology, and suddenly, whenever the topic of evolution came up, she was very supportive of it. One time we were talking about a nature documentary and my mother says something along the lines of, entitled Mom, it's so amazing. Narcissistic bitch has been gathering data which tracks the evolution of several antelope subspecies in the savannah. Me? Funny how you're happy to talk about this when you think Charles Darwin was an anti-religious idiot. After that, she took me aside and quietly started an argument with me. Entitled Mom. Kazar, what are you trying to do? Me? I'm just pointing out what you said to me. Narcissistic bitch doesn't think any less of you. He simply laughed it off as he was used to her kind of crazy. Entitled Mom. Well, just think before you humiliate me in front of narcissistic bitch. Me? I just think it's funny that you called Charles Darwin, a dead scientist, an idiot, and your own son stupid for believing in his well-supported theories. But when it's a man you actually respect, you roll over and pretend you always believe in evolution. Needless to say, she blew up at this, sent me away and treated me like a family shame in front of narcissistic bitch. And what do you know? Narcissistic bitch, the man she respected enough to bullshit in front of him about her beliefs, was emotionally cheating on her. She married him because he was handsome PhD who could cook, and in general act as a perfect trophy husband for her. Now she was getting on in age. He was one person she treated as remotely close to the perfection she considered herself to be. And he was a narcissistic bastard who was cheating on her the whole time. Like attracts like. My entitled mother spends my childhood smearing my dad's reputation while using his babysitter and bank for an affair she orchestrated. Story 4 of 6. Story 4. The Anti-Father Smear Campaign. So, as I mentioned in Story 2, my mother would simultaneously rely on my father through child support and impromptu babysitting. When she decided that custody she won, though being the woman in the 90s, was too much effort, and tells me how terrible he was for cheating on her. My maternal grandmother was convinced that decent dad was a pawn of Satan, and even declared that she'll deck dad's wife if she ever saw her. So far, it seems reasonable, right? My dad cheated on my mom. She's reasonably upset and regularly tries to let her 2 children know not to trust him, even if biting the hand that feeds her is inadvisable at best. Well, here's a plot twist. One day, on my way back to the university town, my mom tells me the following. Entitled Mom. Kazar, I think you're old enough to know something important. I told decent dad to cheat on me. Me? What? Entitled Mom. We were both unhappy in the marriage, and we wouldn't be allowed to divorce in the congregation unless someone is adulterous. So I encouraged decent dad to find someone, fall in love, and make a new life. Now he has with dad's wife. At first, I was confused, but things made sense. Why dad's wife was so nice to me and willing to accept us. Why decent dad still loved us deeply. However, something didn't sit right. Firstly, why did she not bother telling her mother? My grandma still resents my father to this day because of this lie she spun. In addition, why in the world did she treat seeing my dad as a threat? Why did she slander him when she knew she helped orchestrate the affair? It was her wanting to have her cake and eat it. Worse still, she used the affair as means to support her having custody over me and cool bro. When I confronted my father about this, he confirmed it and said he wanted custody over us. But the court decision was final. This meant that all the time where she bitched at me about how much of a burden me and cool bro were, how it wasn't fair that she was good enough to take us in, it was all a lie. She needed to take us in for the good mother capital that it gave her. And boy, did she milk the hard-working single mother card for everything it was worth. She smeared my father using an affair she orchestrated to steal custody of me and cool bro from him. And when she got custody, resented the children the law trusted her to nurture and love. Anyway guys, that would be all from me for today. As always, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. I'll be back with more Reddit reads. See you guys tomorrow. Mwah.